Well, let's dive a little bit more deeply into this and speak to Senior Director of the Foundation for Defence of Democracies, the Centre on Military and Political Power, Brad Bowman. Brad, very good to talk to you. Thank you so much for coming onto the show. And just let me ask you, first of all, we spoke there to Jonathan, obviously, about where we stand now. But I suppose the big question is, what happens next? Because we're expecting more talks between the US and the Europeans. And then, of course, whatever is agreed has to be then put in front of the Russians. So where is your analysis of where we stand now with this?
Thanks for the opportunity to join you. My analysis is that this plan is better than the 28-point plan, which was a plan that only Putin could love. This is better, but it's still highly problematic. And if you're talking about this economic zone, what it has in common with the 28-point plan is Ukrainian forces withdrawing. And I'm a little confused why we would ask the democracy that was invaded to withdraw and consistently have a reflexive position in Washington that is supportive of the autocratic invader. And my worry is that Washington has failed to impose sufficient consequences on Putin. In fact, all of the sticks have been for the invaded, and all the carrots have been for the invader. And it's no wonder Vladimir Putin is unwilling to negotiate in good faith. So I think Putin hopes that this plan will portray Ukraine as the problem, when in fact the real problem is the worst invasion in Europe since World War II. And the national security strategy of the Trump administration, released on Friday, was talking about the problem being lack of self-confidence in Europe and NATO expansion. Those are talking points only Putin can love. The real problem here is Putin's brutal war of conquest.
Let's talk a little bit about America and its role in defence. We heard just a moment ago on X from Mr. Zelensky about ensuring security guarantees include serious components of European deterrence and are reliable, and also important that the US is with us. But how does American military support shape, do you think, Ukraine's leverage on that negotiating table? Because clearly Mr. Zelensky believes it does.
I think the positions of the United Kingdom and France and Germany lately have been very, very important and have empowered Zelensky in ways that I think are supportive of American national security interests. But clearly the role of Washington and President Trump are going to be potentially decisive here. And let me just highlight the position I just described of the administration is wildly inconsistent with American public opinion. If you look at the Reagan National Defense Survey, this was an independent poll of 2,500 Americans. Let me just cite some quick statistics. 79% of Americans view Russia as an enemy. 70% say you can't trust an agreement with Russia. 62% of Americans want Ukraine to prevail. 64% support providing Ukraine weapons. 69% even support some sort of Article 5 commitment. 3/4 support a European-led force with American air support. 68% of Americans hold favorable views of NATO. 76%, the list goes on and on. You're getting the idea. And by the way, this is reflected on Capitol Hill, where the House of Representatives just passed the annual defense bill, the National Defense Authorization Act, and it supports Ukraine's security assistance funding for the Baltics. It opposes the cutoff of intelligence for Ukraine. It opposes the reduction of U.S. military posture in Eastern Europe. And the list goes on and on. The point is that Americans on bipartisan majority support Ukraine, see Russia as a threat, right, and they don't have any difficulty in calling our enemy by name.
OK, Brad Bowman, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Pleasure to talk to you.